buon pomeriggio. Elena, thanks for connecting with Radio Italia 1 Adelaide.
Salve a tutti, salve dottore.
Grazie.
Grazie.
Well, first of all, I've got mixed up with the names. Another time I spoke to an Elena Callipari, and I think I put your photo in there, and someone, maybe Pina, told me that I'd spoken to one of 5 Elena Calliparis.
See,
so
that's right.
Let's understand. Let's start from this. Normally, you put the Italianness last. Where do all these Elena Callipari women come from?
All these Elenas, or Elenas, because it was anglicised, of course, at school, are all from my grandmother, Anonna. Ananna, we call her in Calabrese, of course, in our dialect. And so she had 5 sons, 2 daughters, and 5 of those, that selection were named Elenas, the eldest daughters. So, or a daughter, I should say,
and
from each,
from 5 of the families. Calabria or Calabrese. So is that grandmother from Calabria, or is everyone from Calabria? What's the options?
My grandmother and grandfather, both from Calabria. Nonna from Pleti and nonno from Netile, which is about 15 minutes away from each other.
15 minutes away, okay. Yeah. Which is probably a long distance.
It's a long distance when you have to walk. I mean, yes. 15 minutes in the car is in those days. So,
and well, you've already mentioned something that I think is important in your life. We'll look at several strands, but you mentioned the dialetto calabrese, and I notice you have done or are doing some interesting work on what we call dialects. I'm not sure if we still use the word dialect or languages.
It does, yeah. Dialect. Well, they're languages because they do have their own culture, their own art. So they are really languages. I mean, if you look at the Napolitan, that is now under UNESCO, is a language, is, deemed a language now. With Dottore Massimiliano Verdi, who I met many years ago, when we first started talking about saving our Southern Italian dialects. I think it's really important. That's our heart language, whatever dialect that we have, and it makes up the enriched tapestry of our Italiani.
Okay, so what's this saving? Would you say saving South Italian dialects?
Save our Southern Italian dialects.
Okay, what's this project?
So this project's been on hold now for a little while. COVID came and interrupted it, etc. So I can't really talk much about it at the moment, except that, I do what I can in my own realm, in my own networks. And of course, it's the heart language for us. It's the language we use when we're at the table, when we play scopa or other games, So every Sunday I have a game with Dad. Mum tells me little stories from her, so it's about keeping that alive and making sure that the kiddies know about it too. The kids are, in their 20s now. They're not really kids, but
yes,
they're still always my children, or our children.
Yes. Okay, so now I can see in the background, the listeners can't, but I can see some interesting things, some books, but also some busts and maybe a tape measure. And I've lived with that all my life, because my father was a tailor and Mum was a dressmaker.
Was he?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
So, apart from having the bust, but he would always see him with a tape measure around his neck. So what's your connection?
Well, that's because I'm a sarta. Maestra insegnata of sewing, stilista, designer, dressmaker. And I have done ever since I watched my mum when I was very little, watching her sew at the machine, and then sneak the machine when she wasn't looking, when I was big enough to actually reach the foot pedal, or in those days it was a knee pedal, and then she changed over to a electric, the more the pedal one, which you would have known, probably the pedal.
Yes, and we've still got one in the spare room, which is
beautiful.
From our perspective, a museum piece, because now both parents have passed away. Mum, very recently.
Yes, yes.
But they're still there, and So did your mother teach you to sew?
Well, I watched her, and then I went away and stayed here and did designer dressmaking diploma, And then they asked me to teach because the teachers there said I had a knack for it. I was never going to be a teacher, but and that's when I got into teaching.
Where do you
So
teach?
because I couldn't go away, I teach TAFE teaching. I started with in clothing and textiles, and then from there did that for many years, and then taught English to migrant women. But I also taught sewing to Turkish migrant women.
Oh.
So it was sewing, but it was English at the same time. So these were many women that were coming in, still covered and beautiful ladies. Yeah.
And so that was one way for them also to learn the language, which is a
Correct.
topic of
Yeah,
contention.
because it's an interest that they have. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And and you're still teaching sewing design?
I am teaching. Now I'm teaching teenage mums, creative connections. So it's called Zoe Support Australia. I also teach cooking at the community centre and also make food for food relief because, as we know in these days, lots of people are finding it difficult. In the meantime, in between me starting teaching and then got married and had a child, and then, of course, and I've spoken to you about Park for Play.
Yep. Well, let's take a step back. Where are you teaching these things? Which TAFE?
Teaching at the organisations themselves.
Yes. What city? What town?
In Mildura. Yeah, Mildura. Sorry.
Okay, we haven't mentioned Mildura
Victoria.
Yet. Okay.
I've been patiently waiting here.
Mildura is a major centre for Ascolta Women.
Correct. Yes. We have a lot to offer. Ascoltessi have come here many times.
Yeah.
The lovely Teresa Capetola and Elena, of course, my cousin, Fortunata, my cousin, who you've also interviewed. Pina, the lovely Pina. I have one of her books here, one of the recipes I'm going to try actually with my class.
Oh, yes.
From Brodo to Torta. That's one of Teresa's. The lovely Maria Gallotta Chiaroli with her book Tapestry, but she has many books. Yeah, that's very good.
We've spoken, several times to Maria Pallotta Chiaroli and her very interesting project.
Elise Valmorbida. Elise Valmorbida with Madonna of the Mountains, which won an award. If anybody wants to do any writing, this is a great little handy book, the Happy Little Writing Book. It's discovering some positive power of creative writing. Pina Marino has a Betsy Butsy, which she's got a couple of those books. Betsy Butsy, that's this one here. And Maria Fantasia as well, of course. Yeah. So we've got, and then you can see there that we've got all the books there that we've got. We're up to, now we're working on number 6. So we've got stories from La Terra, La Notte, from the Inside, which was our first book, with Ascolta, stories from La Tavola, and the latest one was Il Corpo.
So
that's that one there.
From Il Corpo.
Il Corpo.
We just started talking about Ascolta Women and all the books. They've produced 5 anthologies so far. What's your contribution? I know not everyone writes. There are also different types of artists in the group Ascolta Women. Are you an author? Do you contribute other
I do contribute. Yeah, I do contribute written pieces, but small because I'm not as accomplished as the others. But I do take photos.
Yeah.
So you can see there's a few photos there that I've got there. Mine is the Stories from La Notte is actually my photo, my front cover.
The cover?
Or my photo that I've contributed towards it. Plus there's other pictures in here that I've contributed as well. We all give a little bit, Antonio. We all do our little bit and we all contribute towards the collective.
And I understand you do some visual art outside of Ascolta Women as well.
See, yes, I do
got some
take photos.
Hanging.
I also do some sewing. I've always sewn, like I said, from when I was little, and then became qualified, and have made many special gowns, like for matrimonio, for sposi, for le mamme dei sposi or l'esposo.
Yes, and you have some photos hanging in the Mildura Art Gallery, is that correct?
I have some at a photo place at the moment, and I did have one hanging in Mildura Art Centre. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's too big for me to go and get and show you, though. It's actually of a rainbow, which is quite apt that it's a rainbow because it's raining outside and it's quite loud. And we had a rainbow yesterday. We had a little bit of rain, which will be nice for, because we need it. And it takes me to the saying by Dr. Maya Angelou, who always says to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. And, grief can be like that. And out of that grief came a very important project that we built that I was a big part of, called Park for Play. And I don't know if you wanted to talk about that.
Park for Play, yes. So what is Park for Play? Is that a park in Mildura?
It's actually a playground. So Park for Play is a playground for all abilities. So that means it doesn't matter what ability you have, whether it's or limited ability you have, whether you have an auditory issue, a limited mobility issue, whether you are sight impaired or visual impaired. So sorry, that's the same thing. But yeah, we go through the gamut of disabilities, and it can be for little people and also for older people, because we know that elderly, and I'm getting down the other end now, love watching children play, and not in a creepy way. Love watching children play, and we all have a need for play.
Now, you mentioned this playground is suitable for people with different sensory capabilities. How do you make a playground? How do you make a playground for people who are visually impaired or sound impaired?
Well, it starts very early on, because for me, the impetus or the catalyst was having a child, Jacob, with a disability. He had multiple anomalies. He had a heart condition, but also a mobility issue for no apparent reason. But without getting too far into that, because, that kind of brings some emotional stuff with it as well.
Yes.
And I was part of a group that we had just recently started before this. Jacob was still with us at the time. And we got together with families of children with a disability support group. Now, this was after the terrible name Crippled Children's Association for our state a spastic society had closed down. So we had no therapies. Yep. This was in the mid-90s, early 90s, mid-90s. So all of our children didn't have anywhere to play, didn't have any therapists, funding was cut, etc. So we all got together and we lobbied government to help us out. And without telling the whole story, just getting to the playground, I was able to campaign with other parents of children with disabilities, got together, and we got some attention to the need that we had, and that was to have a playground for children with a disability. I might add that it took 6 years. Yep. It was a long time. And I also spoke, the inspiration actually came from parents of children with disabilities and without in Melbourne, in Leeson Street in East Kew. And I spoke to them and they helped me out with getting different bits and pieces. But of course, theirs was wooden. We can't have wood here in Mildura because it's just too hot and it splinters and dries out, that stuff. So everything was sourced in Australia as much as possible.
Yes.
I got together with a play enthusiast who was the biggest 6'5" kid I've ever met. And James was very, very helpful in putting together some components. The main component, which is in the shape of a yabby, is there is nothing else like that ever anywhere. Okay. But yeah, it's something for everybody. It's 2-story. We have 45,000 recycled tyres down there. The colours that we use were influenced by children, because I used to go around to the schools, and also take a disability awareness program with them to the schools in Mildura.
And you said Jacob passed away. He passed away as a little young boy.
He was 6. So he would have been 32 now. Yeah, it's been a long time. So this playground has been going now for since 2005. Yeah, like I said, it took 6 years, but his brother and sister got to play on it. Unfortunately, he didn't get to, but we had started it way before he had passed.
What elements of design are there in this playground that's suitable
The elements of design are we have wider footpaths so that you can go with either 2 pushers, 2 prams, or 2 wheelchairs, or a wheelchair and someone pushing a pram.
Yes.
Because often, you know, people with disabilities want to enjoy the same things. People with disabilities go on holidays. The elderly too, you know, we need something that's comfortable for them. We have something for a touch, feel, sensory sort of
nice
needs. So sand play, we have trees within the playground, so within like a little forest sort of thing, so the kiddies can play hide and seek. We have 2 stories, like I said, swings, special swing that was made by Wayne Devine, who won Inventor of the Year. You probably might remember him. He put together a wheelchair swing. That's Australian as well.
Okay.
And that was actually sponsored by the Variety Club for us. So we managed to get funding from all sorts of places, including at the time we had 3 different governments. So local government was independent, our state government was Labor, and our federal government was Liberal at the time. So John Anderson actually was very helpful with the Department of Transport and Regional Services grant that we were able to access. And look, it took a lot of us. It took a lot of people to communicate, to coordinate, to build a community capacity. And then we got to build it as a community. People came together on a long weekend, which was actually about the week. We had a fellow that I told you come along, and we had T-shirts, different teams. We had, so the community really got behind it. It took a long time to find the right site because, of course, we needed to work with council. It now belongs to our Jura Rural City Council, and they take care of it and have done for quite a while now. And it belongs to our community. And that started with a few sausage sizzles at Bunnings.
Mm-hmm.
And grew, which we probably don't have time to talk about how much it grew.
Does the playground have a name? Is it dedicated?
It's called Park for Play, and it's dedicated to Jacob. There's a big totem there made by our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students from TAFE, and there's a lovely totem with faces on it, different faces, and then on top there's a beautiful marble piece that has Jacob's picture impregnated into the stone, and that plays for everyone.
Beautiful, lovely project. Okay, so we've talked a bit about your disabilities area, your sewing, or sarta.
I've been alive for a little while.
The photography.
So
yes. So just very briefly, I'm guessing have you visited Plati and that area?
I have visited Nadile, yes, and Plati. Visited there. We stayed in Nadile with some very special people there still. We have relatives there. You know, it was just so beautiful to actually go to Italy finally. And you know, when my feet touched the ground, I say it was like a bomba, you know, like this and I know a lot of people say the same. And of course, when we landed, we had the rallies come to collect us, and one of them said, "Oh, he doesn't speak English," so he said, "You take the girls and tu levi I figlioli." And he was going to take our luggage, and I said, because they don't understand me anyway, and I said, "I'm a rancho," you know. And he said, "Oh, just the car level con me." So, you know, we were able to have a chat. That was Dad's cousin. So it was lovely to hear, but they said, "Come mai parla come I anziani." How come I speak like the old people?
Yes.
Well, I learnt my language from my dialect from the old people from those times. So Mum and Dad both migrated here with their families as young children in the 50s. And of course, there's many others that have. And they're the treasures that we take with us on our journeys.
Yes, well, you remind me of another guest I had a couple of years ago who said he's Professor Bruno here, and he said when he went to Italy, his cousins would laugh in a pleasant way, chuckle, because he spoke the language of 50 years prior, because that's what he learned from his parents. Yes. Well,
yeah.
Okay. Well, Elena, we have to go. The next guest will be on in a couple of minutes. It's been delightful to meet you, and I guess I'll get to meet all five Elena Calliparis.
Oh, you might, yeah. Maybe we should all get together one day, and you can all see us together.
And you're working on the next anthology, you said.
Yes, and the next anthology is From the Heart. So stay posted, mitiro kori. And that's one of my special sayings that my grandma used to say to you.
How was that?
Stories from the heart.
No, what did you say in Calabrese?
Mitiro kori.
Mitiro kori.
You know, it pulls at my heart.
Pulls at the heart. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Grazie, Elena.
You're welcome. Thank
Maria
you.
Callipari Nemtsas. And apologies, I think I misspelled your second surname. I'll get it right.
Nemtsas. No, Nemtsas is right. And Callipari is Callipari. Perfect.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay. Ciao.
Grazie.